to see the chief's shiny shoes.
Yeah.
When he goes to see.
Got my shiny shoes.
Polished.
I just dressed up y'all today.
Lori and Jim will be here. Jim just texted that he's gonna be a few minutes late. I haven't heard back from Lori, but she said she'd be here. So we do have a forum if you wanted to go ahead and start. That's
That's
it.
good.
Yeah.
Everybody buy that.
All right, it's 6 p.m. So, oh, you there?
Sorry.
Lori is here. It is 6 p.m. So we will call the meeting to order. First order of business is the pledge of allegiance. So if you would join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next item of business is public participation. Purpose is to allow citizens opportunity to address the Bartonville Crime Control Prevention Board on issues that are not subject of a public hearing. Items which require a public hearing will allow citizens or visitors to speak at the time that that item is introduced on the agenda. However, no formal action can be taken by the board on items that are not posted on the agenda. We do not have any public participants here this evening. And I don't believe we are on a live stream or anything, so we don't have anybody participating via a web or anything.
It looks like we have one person, but nobody's told me that they wanted to speak.
Okay, fair enough. All right, very good. So with that, we will move on to regular items. Item number one, consider approval of the April 22nd, 2025 Bartonville Crime Control Prevention District Board regular meeting minutes. They are available for you on the laptop. If you want to take a moment to look over those, or if there's any questions or comments, discussion on those, any of those items from the last meeting or from the minutes. If not, there is no discussion. I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All in favor? Aye. All right, it's unanimous. All right, moving on to the next item, discussion of the financial report ending April 2025.
Thank you, Chair Grub. I will keep this short because I know we want to get into the budget discussion. Bank balance as of today was $243,193.09. I know that somebody requested us to have that, and I apologize for not having it the last meeting. We did really well. Sales tax is averaging around 11,000 a month, but we actually brought in 9,200 this month, and then interest earned was $886. And both of those were right on target to meet or exceed, which we are exceeding the budgeted amount in interest earned, but we should definitely be meeting or maybe even exceeding on the sales tax for their budget. We're doing really well for their revenue. Anybody have any questions before we move on to expenses?
Is that just with the addition of some new businesses?
Each month, and it's 2 months in arrears, so this is April that we're looking at, so it was February sales tax.
Okay.
And then we have some that pay monthly, and then some of them that pay quarterly, so that's why there's some fluctuation.
We don't get any kind of breakdown or anything of what makes up that, or do we get a breakdown by retail business, just out of curiosity, or no?
I can see a breakdown, but it's confidential information, I cannot express it to you guys.
Fair enough. Understood.
For expenses, we were pretty much, normal items, we had some expenses in vehicle maintenance, which a couple of vehicles needed some new tires and oil changes. Cell phone is our monthly service. And then down to supplies, we actually had a miscoding for the previous month. That's why it says reads a negative $418.65. I actually moved it into the line item below it, which is actually the one that we had budgeted. So it actually cleared that, but we're still good there. And then we also had some training expenses. So we expensed a little under $1,500 for the month. Our next big expense will be in July, which will be our car payment, the loan payment of $58,314. Right now, it was just kind of some regular upkeep. Any questions?
I just want to follow up on Chairman Brown's question. Why is that information about the tax revenue confidential?
Competitors can see that information for those retail stores or the restaurants. So the state marks it confidential.
Okay, no action to take on this, so therefore no motion or votes required. Any other questions? Discussion? Okay, very good. We'll move on to item 3, public hearing to consider approval of Bartonville Crime Control Prevention District fiscal year 2025-2026 proposed budget. Chief Briggs?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. In your packet, you have the memo that I prepared for y'all. And just to go over that, the proposed budget does increase reduction in the vehicle replacement line item that we had $80,000 the last couple of years. It'll be reduced to $58,314, representing a $21,686 decrease. That is because we bought those 2 cars from government capital, and this is going to be a 3-year thing out. So that's why it's reduction there. Also, we're shifting some of the money because, as you know, when I came here, there were several items that we needed to purchase. We have the computers that were 13 years old that we needed to replace. We had the tasers that were old that needed to be replaced. We had in-car, the radios that we had to buy some radios, and also the vehicles. So what we're doing, because if you look at the budget and you go to that, we'll start at the top, the line item, we're gonna go ahead and increase that this year, as Shannon did indicate in the financials. We're looking really good, 11,000 a month should bring us about 132,000. But to answer your question, I guess it's Commissioner Bree, Director, sorry, I'll get it straight here. Anyway, we will have some other businesses coming in. I think we've discussed it. You're gonna have Papa John's, Chipotle, and then another tire shop coming in the next couple months. So we will have some, plus you have the reserve, Marty V's reserve is gonna be there. So we're anticipating at least we can add another 10,000 to the budget. But even doing that, I wanted to remove some of those things. I don't want to, we're at 243,000 or whatever in our surplus, but I don't want to go below 200,000. Just keep that as a nest egg. So what we're doing this year, and I'll go down, any questions before I go into the line items? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and increase it from 120 to 130 this year. We also, as Shannon did state, it looks like our interest is looking really good, but we're just going to keep it a little lower, go with 8,500, bumped it up 1,500 from 7,000. And then if you go to these other accounts, accounting, our audit and accounting expenses, we haven't used that, so we're going to zero it out. The bonds, we're going to go ahead and continue to keep that there. And then the vehicle maintenance, you'll look at that, it's at $15,000. And if you remember, the reason we put that in there was an amendment for the engine that we purchased for 996 a year and a half ago. So we're looking at right now, we're looking pretty good. So what I'm going to do is zero that out and put 6,000 of that into the police vehicle maintenance. So we'll increase the police vehicle maintenance 6,000, but we're actually going to be just moving that out of CCPD. Any questions?
Any particular reason why you guys are putting that under your budget versus continuing to use the CCPD funds?
Yes, sir. When I looked at it, I'm trying to reduce to where I'm not going into to keep that $200,000 you know, buffer. If I don't do this, I'm afraid we're gonna below that. So, yeah, cause we had a, we had $338,000 last, back in 2024-25. So I'm reducing it this year to about 173,000. So I'm just trying to reduce it, is the main reason for that.
Gotcha.
And we do have the money, we're doing okay in that budget line item as well for police, but that's one of the reasons to reduce this a little bit, so we're not too heavy. I just don't want to tap it all out. We were very fortunate to have that money in reserve, so that's the reason. And then if you'll notice, Santa, we're gonna keep, Blue Santa at 1,500. The cell phones, we're also moving that. We're actually doing, our cell phone is low. We're not even close to the 8,000. The reason for that is we have removed some of the cell phones from the officers and just putting them in the cars for our presence ticket writers. So that sort of allowed us to reduce our cell usage. And the lieutenant actually going through each one of them to make sure if we need to remove some others.
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that? Remove the cell phones so patrol officers don't have cell phones?
I'm sorry, I'm moving, what I did is I'm moving the money into the PD, but I'm also, we have officers that are issued cell phones.
Yeah.
Not all of them wanted them, so what we did is we're reducing the number of cell phones we have in our account. So that's gonna decrease our payment.
What do you mean they didn't want them, like they don't have?
They didn't want your cell phones?
They just
They just wanted to
They
use
wanted to use their personal phone, not their phones. I had carry phones, they didn't want to. I'm listening to my staff, Steve.
No, I understand that. I have an issue with them using their personal phone for city business. But we can discuss that.
Yeah, it's not really
later.
later, yeah, that's, we can do it later. They were just not wanting it, they wanted to, anyway, we can talk about offline about
I
this.
think that'd be up to the town attorney to address.
Yeah.
They're using personal phones or not.
We're using it, I'll discuss this after offline.
Rather than us discussing it, I think that's the town attorney that would
Thanks.
call that.
Let's see, computer software maintenance, that was Datamax. And we're gonna move that over to police to reduce the 22,400 to, like I said, just to lower the total cost that we're putting out of CCPD. And then we also had the hardware, the 64,000, that was actually when we implemented it. That's gonna be removed. And then if you look at the equipment, the flock is the only thing we gotta keep in there, the 50,000. And so we'll be reducing that as well. We're gonna keep the National Night Out at $3,000. And then we're gonna go ahead, and I had a discussion with the mayor a little bit about this today. The salary, the $30,000. We thought about removing that. I actually talked about it last week. Because we do have the money in salaries to cover that this year with reduction in administrative salaries. So, but we're gonna go ahead and keep it in this year,
Okay.
if you guys are okay with that.
The flock is that for the service?
Yes,
It's not for
every,
any new equipment, it's just this.
no, it's for, I don't have my calculator, we have 21 cameras. And that's our annual cost at $50,000.
And that's for storage of the data and all that stuff?
That's for the cameras, to be able to utilize the system, all the infrastructure. Yeah, so that's the service that we pay per camera, but we also get to, that's the maintenance. If they need to replace a camera, that's included in that cost.
It's basically a lease agreement.
Yeah.
It's a subscription service that includes a lease of the hardware.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then we also have our, okay, yes, so you're looking at the small equipment. We're actually moving that over into, we're removing that from this budget and putting it in the police budget. The Axon body cameras, we're actually gonna be able to reduce that because we're not gonna need one of the body cameras. And so we're gonna be able to return that and save some money.
So that 15,000 number though,
Goes
accounts,
to-
it accounts for that or that?
Yes, it was 17,000, we're looking at a reduction of 15, so we're gonna get a $2,000 reduction.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And then we have the training budget. We're just gonna keep it at 5,000, hopefully this year I can get somebody training, actually, I just got an email from the chief in Roanoke today, they got training, alert training, but it's free, so that's always good.
No,
And then you also have the uniform apparel, 9,000. We're gonna keep that in there because we also have some in the police budget as well. And then, of course, you look at the vehicle replacement going from 80,000 to 58,314. And then I'm gonna go with the squad car accessories, we spent $685. It's just odds and ends for things that we need to do, so we're gonna keep that at 1,000. And bringing us to a total of $173,014.
So essentially, we will have to tap into that reserve by about $34,000.
Yes.
Is what we're saying.
I'm just trying to, if I would have left that in there, I can't remember the first number we had.
89.
It was 80, almost like 90,000, so I just wanted to reduce it some. And hopefully this year, we may do better than 132,000. But I think if we just look at this and next year, we'll see where we're at. And
Ideally, I think our goal hopefully would be over time to get it to where we're running, pretty close and not having to tap into that ideally, so that we can have that as for emergency purposes, a car goes out, completely gets demolished or destroyed, or hopefully insurance would cover, but just for unforeseen circumstances, keeping that budget, keeping that bucket of money, kind of the reserve money there. So is that, have you discussed with the mayor about trying to get this CCPD budget to a balance at some point here in the coming years, or what are the thoughts around that?
that's my thought. We sort of had those, that, because where I came from before, and I think I like to use that for when you bring whatever you're bringing in, use that as your, don't tap in, because then you can start saving that money and make it more on interest in building up that,
Right.
The bank account.
Right.
So I would love to get to, if we go to 135,000 next year, be able to budget 135,000. We may not be able to get there for another 2-3 years, but that would be the goal, yes, sir. Because you never know, like you say, we don't know what we may come up. I may come up, need 3 more cars or something, I don't know. Any questions?
going to motorcycle, it's good.
Oh, trust me, some guys would love to be on motors.
Nice here.
Yeah. Any questions, comments?
Okay. So based on that, then we will open the public hearing at this time. So let the record show 6:17. We are opening the public hearing to receive any public input relative to this proposed budget. And again, we do not have anyone here in person to provide any public input, so it is now 6:18, so we will close the public hearing at 6:18. And yes, we will move on. There's no further action to be taken on that. So moving on to item 4, which is actually discuss and consider the Crime Control Prevention District fiscal year 25-26 proposed budget. So this will be the item under which we have any additional discussion. And unless we have any items or any changes or anything that we want to request, then we'll certainly have a motion and vote on whether or not we want to accept this proposed budget. So any discussion or further questions for the chief on this proposed budget, or any suggested changes, concerns?
Well, I think it's like it has been in years past, if just like the chief has presented what he's got here, if we approve this and something catastrophic happens and we need to make some changes, we still have the ability to do so at any point, as long as we do the meeting properly, correct?
Yes, sir, just like, you did last year, we had had quite a bit, but that's, yes, sir, we do have, if we need it, we can come and say, hey, we need a little bit.
So this budget takes into account the 5-year kind of plan that we had talked about over the last few months.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I looked at that, and here's the nice thing, after I looked at it, I'm actually gonna get some radios donated to us. The portables, so I didn't even need to do that 5-year plan, because as you look or this coming year, we're just gonna do the 3 radios. So next year I'll bring it in and show, because we'll be replacing cars, that's gonna be the next thing, that did some radios. I check those out, but yes, sir. You know, that does take into account what we discussed.
Yeah, the 58, 317 for the vehicle replacement, that's for one vehicle.
That's for the two. What we did, yes, what it was is we did $156,000 to a 3-year agreement with General Capital. And the first year, last year, when we signed the agreement, we didn't have to pay this coming June. We'll pay June or July will be our first payment. So we'll have 58,000 this year, 2024-25 budget will be number 2 next year, which you're approving now. And then 26-27 will be the last year we'll have to pay on those new cars.
Okay.
And we do have 2 currently out. The third one's in the shop right now getting outfitted. So, you know, depending on the mileage, and I'll sort of have a better feel for that here on where we're at. Because as we've talked, I think it's important to get those cars out within 100,000. Just not only the miles, but the, you know, the engine time, and then just, that's their office, and I think, you know, we've got the cops in the room, and anyone you would want a nice office. And they do, I tell you this, our guys talk about the equipment all the time. And when they're talking to other agencies, they go, man, we got great equipment. So to be able to say that for a 7-man department, it's a great recruiting tool. You know, we got new computers, new cars, new tasers. They really, those are some things that they definitely talk about. So we get those nice cars. Plus, you know, as you tell, it looks good. And we want to, you know, we're a very nice community, unique community with nice cars. And so that will be, yeah, we're gonna be okay with it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Any other discussion? Questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the budget as proposed by the chief.
I'll make the motion to accept the budget as described by the chief on 5/26. I'll second that.
We have a second from Steve. Twice, all right, all in favor? Aye, and it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, last item is future items. Any items, any of the directors would like to see on an upcoming agenda? Based on this, so now we will still need to have one more meeting or prior to the final budget submission, or we will not need to have?
You will not need to have any more meetings regarding the budget unless council comes back and says that they don't approve the budget, which I don't see happening.
Okay.
And we did schedule the June 16th, I think it was, but since we don't have any items, we don't need to have that meeting unless there's something that you're told.
Any future items? And if not, I mean, if nobody has any future items, then I would say we could probably go ahead and remove that June 16th meeting. Yeah, that works with everybody, so. We could. No future items, and we're gonna remove the June 16th meeting. And that is the last item on the agenda. So you can say we are adjourned at 6:23. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.